Welcome back to the No Clue Podcast, episode 149. We have returned. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Tyler. Welcome.
Here to recap the conference finals.
Yes. East or West, where you want to go first?
We got to start with the Clippers first.
Okay. First of all, do you consider this a collapse by the Clippers?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I mean, you come into the series without Kawhi. And Phoenix got healthy like over the course of the series.
Right.
So it's just, could they have played better? Yeah, but, we've talked about that countless times.
Right. Yep.
You want to start with Phoenix first?
Yeah, we can start with Phoenix first.
Tell me some things you liked from Phoenix, because, there was a lot.
Phoenix has, I'll say Phoenix has probably been the most consistent team throughout these playoffs. And that's not just for how long they've played. I mean, even first two rounds, I don't think any team was more consistent than Phoenix.
Yeah.
Ayton, I love Ayton, man. Ayton is all of a sudden my top 5 favorite big men in the league.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's all over the court. He's blocking shots. He's getting rebounds. And he very rarely, and when I say very rarely, this is still a lot less than any other center that I've seen this season. He doesn't let guys he doesn't let guys win possessions that they shouldn't win on him.
Yes.
And that's one thing I think every center in the league has an issue with, some more than others. I think we talked about Anthony Davis having this issue big time. We talked about even not centers, but forwards like Siakam, guys like that. Embiid, obviously, having moments where they let these guys who are clearly not better than them just dominate them on certain possessions. Nothing is easy on Ayton, on offense or defense. So he was big. I like that they continue to work to get Booker shots, which is another thing we said about every team in the playoffs. They don't do a good job for their shooters, for their scorers. I think they get Booker very, makeable shots just through offense. Booker doesn't even have to take a lot of dribbles to get them.
Yeah. And he often, when he moves to get open, like you said, you could see the development of a quality shot.
Yeah.
And they have learned, I talked about this off air, but Monty Williams has learned every series. He looked really bad playing point guard. We haven't seen him even try to play point guard since Denver.
Right.
And it just works so well for them.
Yep.
More to your Ayton point, man, his pick and roll defense, and it's kind of a necessity to be able to contain pick and rolls with your big.
Yeah.
Because that's 90% of what teams run.
Yep.
And Ayton did such a good job pretty much every game.
Yeah.
Even the games they lost, he was there, he was helping, but he wasn't just letting his man get open. He had active hands. He didn't just hack. I watched a lot of bigs look clueless guarding pick and rolls over the course of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And to see a guy who's in his second, third year, is he? I think he's second year.
Third, I think.
Third year. Okay. Third year. He looks like a vet playing defense.
Yeah.
And that was what impressed me the most, because I was already, really impressed from the first two rounds, but that just really, I didn't expect that much from him.
Yeah, me either. And, one reason why the pick and rolls, big men being able to contain pick and rolls is such a big deal now is because pick and rolls are 6 feet further away than they used to be.
Exactly.
They're outside of the 3-point line now. And to give a really good guard a downhill from there is tough. And guards are going to hit that shot now.
Yep.
And Ayton was there. I mean, he looked like a guard just picking up somebody for as long as he
Exactly.
needed to.
Yeah, he closed out airspace and he kept guys in front of him.
Yep, and didn't get in foul trouble, really. I think
yeah,
just
and
one
I'm
game.
watching it like there's so many bigs that I would assume are better that couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Bam couldn't do that.
Nope.
You know, we'll talk about the Eastern Conference. There's a center there who couldn't do that.
Right.
So I was really impressed, man.
Yeah. Yep. I am too. Yeah.
And they
He's
even
been the
learned
biggest highlight for me.
Yeah, more to Monty Williams. He learned that one game, the first game they lost. Remember, we talked about they didn't really feed Ayton, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Next game, first quarter, they're getting Ayton shots constantly.
Yep.
And that's what I want to see out of a coach. When you lose or do something poorly, you learn from it and it gets better. And Phoenix did that this entire series.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Let's what did you like about the Clippers? Even though they lost, what did you like about it?
Their depth is real.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like they were on the verge of proving that against Utah, but I thought Ty Lue never really committed to playing certain guys, like Cousins, like Kennard,
Yeah,
and even like Pat Bev.
Yep.
In this conference finals, we saw that this team shouldn't be losing games when guys go out.
Right.
Like in the regular season, when guys miss time, they have more than enough to fill in spots.
Absolutely.
I mean, Batum proved that he's a rotation player.
Yep.
Obviously, Terrence Mann proved a lot.
Yep.
All their guys, all their role players, maybe not impressed me, but they showed me that they belong on the floor.
Yeah.
Even Zubac, who we've criticized for years.
Yeah. I think one thing that really helped Zubac is he didn't have to be on the court for too long any game, which was nice. He didn't have to give you 48 minutes like they were kind of forcing him to be at times, given 40 plus minutes. He can give you a good 28 to 30.
Yeah.
And you have Cousins, you have Batum who can, come in at the 5 spot. I mean, I personally don't like Batum at the 5 spot, but I see when he does it, it works sometimes because he's so strong. They got Morris, who's really strong, who can guard bigs a lot of times. It works. And I mean, crazy thing is they did all this with basically benching Rondo. And I mean, Patrick Patterson has given good minutes to the Clippers the last few years, and he didn't play at all.
No, and Rondo's benching was a good move.
It was, yeah.
And Ty Lue did make a number of good decisions, even in this series.
Yeah.
Which was, we'll talk about the negatives in a little bit, but again, Ty Lue showed me a little more willingness to adapt to like what's going well, what's not going well, where I didn't see that from Doc last year.
Right.
And Doc, we talked about it with Philly. Doc just seems like he believes the team is good enough, so like changes don't need to be made.
Right.
And that's never the case.
Right.
And Ty Lue impressed me in a lot of ways.
I think so too. Me too. Okay. What else? Anything else?
As far as the Clippers, all year ball movement was top tier. And that's why they could get by, like you said. Batum at the 5 sounds bad,
right? But
the way they move the ball and get good shots, they could get by playing really small.
Yeah,
and it's now they got away with it more because Gobert honestly isn't as good as Ayton. But again, they could get by missing guys or adapting their roster even with certain limitations.
Yep.
And the last thing I would say is, I mean, Reggie Jackson, Jesus, was incredible.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I mean,
the MVP of the whole playoffs for me.
I'm not mad at that.
So far, he played great every game. It felt like
every game, like every shot he hit felt like a dagger.
Yeah, it did.
It was so like the difficulty was crazy. He would ISO on top tier defenders and make them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was just shocked because we haven't seen Reggie play high level basketball since he saved Durant's career in OKC.
Right.
Maybe his early couple years in Detroit, but man,
Mm-hmm.
that was a shock that it was sustained literally for 3 rounds. And even though they lost, he never really cooled off.
Right. Yep.
That was crazy.
Okay. So I'll start, and I agree with everything you said. I have nothing else to add to any of that. I'll start with the negatives for the Clippers. As good as Ty Lue was in the adjustments, he had a hard time sticking to them still.
Yes.
And I think Ty Lue has an issue with being able to give direction to guys that need direction. Like this is just something I've noticed. Like, how many coaches have you played for in your lifetime?
6 or 7, something like that.
Okay. Now, some coaches were like, there were some coaches who were like, yeah, we're at this level of basketball. Everyone knows how to play. Here's the play. You guys go out there and just do it. And then there's the coaches who were like, all right, I need you to do this exactly. You do this when this happens. Some guys micromanage a little too much, right? I think Ty Lue is at the point where he thinks that he can just throw guys on the court and say, this is what we're doing, and then them just go do it. Because I haven't seen Kennard look like he knows what's going on the court ever when he gets in the game.
Yeah.
Even when he plays well.
Yeah, he shot the ball really well, but he often looked like he didn't belong out there.
Yeah. And even when
he's weird because he's shooting the ball really well.
Right. And he's shooting the ball really well, but yet he doesn't know where to get his shots from. And they have no offense that creates a shot for him to even creates an open opportunity for him. So that was kind of weird to me. And not just, and Kennard's not the only one. Most of the guys, I think Mann was mostly like that for this whole season. And even the playoffs, but you know.
But when Kawhi first went down, like maybe it was more to like how they were attacking Gobert, but I could see the goal of like why Terrence Mann is out there.
Mm-hmm.
This Suns series, it's like he was out there to be a defensive stopper. And right. I don't know if he's quite ready for like wings and bigger guards to guard them consistently.
Right.
And on offense, he was like, they never really got him like good looks, like very often.
Right. I think, and that's the main reason why he doesn't have big games all the time.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get looks that much. And he knows how to play. So I think he does go out there and say, all right, I don't get a lot of minutes. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to lock down. So this can keep me on the floor.
Right.
But I don't think Ty Lue does anything to keep him on the floor. That's the problem. Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff you just mentioned, I think that's just instinct from a guy who doesn't get a lot of minutes.
Yeah. And he wants to help more.
Right.
He's a competitive guy. So he, like, even when he's not really being used in any way, he can still be out there and help out.
Yeah.
And he showed that.
Yep. And then lastly, Cousins is another one. He went out there and showed that he still has all the talent he's had. He just doesn't have the physical strength like he used to or the speed. But he comes out there and like first time he catches the ball, he gets a tough layup, an and one. He gets a pick and pop 3. And then all those shots look like he was just playing pickup ball. Like everyone on the team knows he can do all that, but it didn't look like he was in there to do that. It looked like, I'm out here. Oh, I got the ball. They're backing off of me. I'm taking this. It wasn't like a pick and pop play. So that was long-winded. I apologize for that, but that was my biggest takeaway negatively for them, because I think that had he had more of a game plan for each player, I think they could have they could probably put up 120 points every night easily.
Yeah. And I think Kawhi not being there like helped and hurt in some ways because guys had to step up, and they did as players, but Ty Lue had a tough time putting it together.
Yeah.
All like consistently. And I think Kawhi, when he's playing, also for better or worse, he kind of locks guys into certain roles that they're supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's tough to analyze them without Kawhi, but they did show me enough positives to where I could see them being successful without him.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this literally all season. They move the ball a lot quicker when he's not there.
Yeah.
A lot more people touch the ball per possession when he's not there.
And that was apparent every game that Kawhi missed since he got hurt.
Absolutely. And that's probably the best way the Clippers play, when everyone can touch it, because pretty much everyone on the roster is a threat.
Yeah.
So
another point I'll make about Ty Lue, like I really liked his kind of team adjustments and player adjustments a lot of the time.
Yeah.
What I really didn't like is the designed plays to get good shots.
Okay.
While we talked about with Phoenix, we love how they get Devin Booker good shots.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a lot of moments where Ty Lue would come out of a timeout and honestly run nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Yeah, and there was times when, like, clearly they want PG to get off because they need that, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, choosing to post him up is bizarre.
Yep.
Choosing to, like, every other star player, we probably talked about this last week, gets high pick and rolls even before they get going.
Yeah.
Paul George has to get going first before he gets pick and rolls.
Yep.
Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And you're willing to post up Morris multiple times in a row, but getting Paul George a good shot is like a challenge.
Yeah. And he, for some reason, was like rolling with the Paul George switching to like another really good defender. Like he'd get Jae Crowder switch onto Paul George and say, okay, that's what we're going with.
Yes.
Instead of, at least trying to get him on Booker or CP, he'd have like Bridges, Cameron Johnson, or Jae Crowder. Like that would be the switch. That's not what we want.
Yeah. And CP did a really good job of this in the second half of the series. He didn't attack guys who are like good defenders. Like he didn't really attack Pat Bev in ISOs.
Right.
But Zubac, nobody else is touching the ball. I got this.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I blame Ty Lue more than Paul George for, because Paul George does deserve some blame for it. But Ty Lue never really, like, got him mismatches. He never really made him move without the ball. And that's a lot of ways that Paul George thrives.
Yeah. A lot of times it definitely did look like he just said, all right, PG, you catch it top of the key and go to work. And that's it. Like, again, it goes back to he acts like they just know how to play basketball. So just go out there and play.
Yes.
Because I still have no idea why Marcus Morris Sr. was taking every corner three he touched. Every time.
I couldn't tell you.
Worse than PJ Tucker. He was just jacking every single time in the corner. And he hit one every once in a while, but it looked really bad. It was bad.
And that was, as the series progressed, guys got like too much confidence that maybe they shouldn't have.
And I thought it was weird Morris had that much confidence because he really only had one good game the whole series.
Yeah, he was so bad. And then they just force-fed him post-ups, and he just couldn't miss all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But the rhythm was completely thrown off because Morris is just killing the ball movement.
Yep, exactly.
And now Terrence Mann has no rhythm because he gets a shot once a quarter.
Yep.
So Pat Bev is taking really tough shots late in the series, and he's making them. But again, like when you're moving the ball from start to finish, you're getting open shots, not contested ones.
And one thing most people don't understand about the corner three, it's just like special. It's a special spot. It's the shortest three. But the reason why there's corner specialists is because it's one of the hardest 3-pointers to rebound, because it can either be long or short, and it can really only go one way, and the defense is there as closest to the basket. So it's not like a good rebounder. Good rebounders have the hardest time rebounding corner threes. That's why only a select few of people we deem the corner specialists, right? The PJ Tuckers, Shane Battier's, Jason Terry, those guys.
Yeah, I honestly think that position, like the corner specialist role, is kind of like Pat in the past.
It is pretty much.
And it's crazy because teams need corner specialists now probably more than they ever have.
Right. And that's one reason why Clay is so special in the league, such an amazing shooter, is because he's, by far the best corner 3-point shooter in the league.
Yeah.
And it's there's no one else really like that. Yeah. And PJ Tucker, like we said, he tries, but
he's the closest to it, but he doesn't make enough for me to like rely on him and consider him a true corner specialist.
Right, exactly.
Because there used to be guys who couldn't shoot from anywhere else.
Yeah.
Keith Bogans always comes to mind because he couldn't hit a shot in any other spot of the floor.
Yeah.
But in the corners, it was like water.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Really, Jason Terry wasn't that great of a shooter anywhere else. He
was like a streaky shooter everywhere else.
But in that corner, it was money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also with long rebounds from corner shots often end up as fast breaks the other way.
Exactly.
And that to me, like you said, it's a high pressure shot to like rely on.
And Morris was letting them fly all game. And I just could not, I didn't get it. I don't know why. This is the last negative thing about Lou. Lou doesn't stop any of the nonsense the team does. That's one thing that really annoyed me. Because like after the third Morris miss from the corner, he'd be done shooting them from the corner for me for the rest of the night. Or
I'm with you.
He would just let stuff keep going. And like I said, just look like, just go play basketball. But
yeah, and it's funny because Reggie Jackson, if Reggie Jackson wasn't as hot as he was, we probably would have been a lot more critical of this.
Yeah.
Because this honestly, again, if Reggie didn't stay hot, they probably don't come out of the Utah series.
Yeah. And that just play ball is his game.
Right. Reggie thrives off that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's really not a good set player.
Yeah, I hated every time they ran like pick and rolls for him. I hated it.
Yeah, he's just give me the ball and I got this. I'll figure something out. Yeah. All right. So
before we move on, I got to talk about Paul George.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people are kind of have like restored their faith in him.
It's definitely a mixed review kind of thing.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Because, again, he proved to me that he could carry this team.
I
thought the Dallas series kind of made it clear that Kawhi is the main guy.
Yeah.
But then he goes down and he steps up. I wish he would have played a little bit better more often.
Yeah.
But he stepped up and showed me that, like, he could get off while getting everybody involved.
And one thing about I wish he played better more often too. It sounds like I'm really just dogging Ty Lue, but it looked like Ty Lue didn't know he could carry the team. To me,
on the surface, yeah, I agree.
Because it looked like when Paul George did start carrying the team, Ty Lue was like, "Oh, like Paul can do this." Like it looked like it was one of those revelations where he was like, wow, maybe Paul can carry us.
Yeah.
So then the game plan completely did like change to where it's just Paul later on into the next round after the Utah series.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
The fear I have with him is that he's not a carry the team guy. Even though he showed that he could do it, the way he's very dependent. I've talked about this in the past. He's very dependent on rhythm to like shoot the ball well. And a lot of that, and this is where I blame him way more than Ty Lue. When you do get mismatches, you often take really tough shots.
Right.
I mean, I could go down, even CP, who's 6 feet tall, when he has mismatches, gets great shots.
Yeah.
I mean, every great scorer in the league, when they get like a guy who can't guard them, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, even, all the star scorers.
Yeah.
They get quality shots with their mismatches. Durant all the time. Durant doesn't really matter, the defender, but
right.
Paul George, throughout the course of the series, he would heat up and he would cool off, but it's all difficult shots.
Yep.
And even when they put him in favorable positions, which Ty Lue, as we said, should have done way more.
Yeah.
He would settle for like a really tough step back. Yep. Or drive into traffic, like trying to force contact.
Yeah.
And the other problem I have is, okay, maybe you're not taking as great of quality shots as I would like, but then when you cool off, you just disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, Kawhi Leonard will shoot you out of the game, no problem. Kawhi doesn't disappear when he's off. He just plays awful.
Right.
Paul George, like, rather than playing awful, especially late in the series, would just disappear. And that, to me, I hate that out of like go-to guys.
Yeah, that's rough, because we say the same thing about Jimmy Butler.
Right. And I just thought it was frustrating because there were so many opportunities for Paul to take over, and he's like just missing. And it's like he's fine with it.
Right.
He's fine with missing, and he never works to get better shots. And on top of that, it's almost like he doesn't notice that he's missing. Like, Paul, you're like 0 for 5 from 3. Like, can we get a layup or a mid-range?
Right. His shot selection in that sense is really bad, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's really bad.
I didn't like his feel for the game in a lot of these games.
Well, this goes back to something we've said about the Clippers all season long. They still have no IQ on the team, and that's including Paul George. And Paul George's best seasons in all of the NBA was when he had good point guards. Every season, at all his best seasons, he's had a good point guard, and that includes Westbrook. And George Hill wasn't like a great point guard, but when it comes to feel for the game, yes, feel for the game and IQ, that's his specialty. And for some reason, Rondo has thrown his IQ just like it's aged away for some reason from him.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens, but we're looking at it.
Yeah, notice it all playoffs, but no one else on this team has that. And I'm not taking the blame away from Paul George, because he's been in the league long enough that he should have at least someone's IQ should have rubbed off on him a little bit. But it was apparent that PG didn't have someone to take the ball from him at any moment of the game.
Yes.
And that's one thing that Westbrook did for him, for better or for worse. Westbrook would just say, all right, I got this. We need to go faster or slower. And Paul George would just run with him.
Yep.
So when people say Paul George is more of a Robin, it's not necessarily a Robin to like someone better than him. It's just a Robin to someone with the Batman IQ, to me.
Yeah.
And but long story short, I completely agree. It was really annoying especially when he would get a big man, he'd take a tough three, or he'd still try to shoot in their face for some reason. And sometimes he got the foul, but a lot of times it was a turnover or just a bad shot. And
Yeah,
I don't know why he doesn't take care of the ball.
my thing is, like, he would challenge Ayton in the dumbest ways.
Yeah.
Like, Ayton, the first 2 games, Ayton showed, like, yo, I'm not a mismatch.
Right.
And he would just like try to go through him like he's stronger.
Yeah.
Like, Paul, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Again, the feel for like the kinds of shots you should get, what just wasn't there.
It wasn't at all.
And I was expecting it to show up after that game 5. I'm like, all right, this is what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You heated up playing off the team, then you took over.
Yep.
And then close out game, you're nowhere to be found.
No.
Dude,
He looked a little bit tired, but he shouldn't have been as tired.
Yeah, that's not. I never give that excuse to guys.
No, he wasn't. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying the way he was playing, he looked like he was just tired, and that's not. I mean,
yeah,
he shouldn't
but like,
be tired.
The thing is, LeBron can get a pass because LeBron carries everything the team does.
Yep.
Paul had plenty of help throughout these games without Kawhi.
Yeah, he did.
So it was never like, Paul George had to put the backpack on and carry everybody.
Right.
And again, you don't have to do that, and you still struggle to find a way to do it.
Yep.
So in that game 6, I mean, he made Torrey Craig look like Casey Jones or Ron Artest. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, he did.
Like, dude, Torrey Craig, he could not get past Torrey Craig to save his life. And that kind of reminds me that Torrey Craig was there last year too when they blew the lead.
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe Torrey Craig had a little more to do with them playing trash than I thought.
Torrey Craig is the PG stopper.
It looked like it.
The NBA champ.
Right. That second half of the game 6, I was watching and I'm like, yo, Paul, like, you're really not, you can't attack this guy.
Right.
It's the same way LeBron used to like kind of duck Kawhi in ISOs.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. I'm like, yo, maybe attack it. Let's attack anybody but Jae Crowder and Torrey Craig.
Right.
I mean, Cam Johnson should be the weak link. Bridges should be the weak link because he's, they're thinner and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And you're attacking
really not laterally quick.
Right. And you're attacking the strongest, most experienced wings on the team.
Right.
And that last game, it just looked awful.
It did. Marcus Morris shot 11 threes in the last game.
Again, that's Paul George. That needs to be you.
Yeah. Paul was 1 for 6.
Paul had no problem going like 1 for 8, 1 for 9 in the other games.
Yeah.
But the last game, he doesn't want to have a bad shooting percentage.
Reggie was 2 for 7 and Morris was 4 for 11. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they lived and died by their shooting more in this series.
Mm-hmm.
But they were due to cool off. Like, you can't stay hot for the entirety of the playoffs.
Right.
And this is the struggle for me is I don't know how like elite they really are because they shot the ball so well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I see a lot of positives where I think they could be contenders with or without Kawhi, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if Reggie cools off, do we see them get as far as they get? I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah, man. Another one. I don't know why they didn't exploit any mismatches with Boogie Cousins either. Like they only gave it to Boogie when he had a center guarding him, and like expected him to just get in his bag.
That's another thing that bothered me because Paul George was allowed to miss all night, but Boogie would miss twice and he can't get shots ever again.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And the
That
thing
doesn't make
is,
sense.
they didn't. It was one of those games where he just was not gonna get a lot of rebounds because of Ayton, because of how the Clippers spread the floor, because of how Phoenix spreads the floor. He's just not gonna get a lot of rebounds, so he needs some paint touches. And because this is a good passer,
Yeah.
obviously we know he's a great shooter from anywhere on the court. And I didn't really get the mismatch with like Reggie Jackson, with like Ayton on Reggie Jackson, but they never look at when Cameron Payne was guarding Boogie in the paint.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And it a little bit of credit to Saric, because you would assume that Boogie could eat on him all day, every day.
Yeah, Sarge wasn't.
And Saric
battled.
battled.
Wasn't having it.
Yeah, Saric was battling, and every time Boogie wasn't out there, Saric looked like the strongest player in this series.
Yeah.
Which was just crazy. And he was hitting shots, he was defending. So, you know, a lot of the Phoenix role guys stepped up like exactly when the team needed them.
Yep. And all right, this is the I promise this is the last thing I'm going to say about Ty Lue. He gets in the habit of really playing, like trying to match the other team's game a lot of times. Like instead of trying to think of an example, like the Warriors, like Steve Kerr, it doesn't matter who you put out there. We're going with Iguodala and, you know, Harrison Barnes as our 4 and 5. And like he makes the other team adjust to that.
Yep.
You know? I think Ty Lue is always trying to adjust to what the other team is doing, even if that means he doesn't have like a good 5 out there on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's just committing to a play style.
Yeah, he doesn't commit. Like they would have Ayton out there with Saric and, you know, maybe Crowder at the 3 or 2, and then he would be forced to put Morris in at like the 4 and Terrence Mann kind of playing like a weird 4. Yeah. Morrison at the 5 with Mann at the 4, and like it didn't match. It wasn't a good 5 to have on the court. So
and I think having a more consistent play style, because I don't think they need to like be in a single play style full time, because they have versatility with a lot of their guys.
Absolutely, yeah.
But having a go-to play style would help take the pressure off of these guys who, like we talked about, didn't fit. Like Kennard would fit better if he knows how we're playing.
Yeah.
Terrence Mann would fit more often if he knew how we were playing.
Yeah.
And like you said, just Ty Lue was just never really committed to anything.
No, he didn't. No. Okay. So Phoenix has made the finals.
Yeah, Torrey Craig is a champion, like you said.
Torrey Craig is an NBA champion. Congratulations,
and CP,
to
man.
Craig.
Shout out to CP, because he was incredible that last game.
Absolutely incredible.
I mean, I literally told you at the start of the game, I'm like, yo, CP's going to have to shoot well for them to win tonight.
And it was a complete understatement.
And he didn't even miss after that, it felt like.
Yeah. He had like 16 in a row at one point, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or 18 in a row?
Yeah, he was just working.
He was. Yeah. Okay, I don't have anything else about this one. CP looks great. Booker looks pretty good. I didn't like how Booker played in the last game, but he looks good overall. Jae Crowder is one of the most valuable players in the league, man.
Back-to-back finals. It's not an accident.
Everywhere he goes, the team is a contender.
Yeah.
And it's not just because not because of the contender gets him, it's because he's there in a lot of ways.
He's like the prototype for what I want a role player wing to look like.
Yeah.
In today's game.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back. He's kind of their Iguodala. He's their defensive stopper. He's their versatile player, plays every position, guards every position. You know, I talked a long time about having someone like Matt Barnes on the team, the value of having someone who's willing to fight, hard foul, play great defense,
Rebound.
Yep. And he I had someone else I was gonna say he was like, but he's just one of those guys. He makes every team better. He really
You know
does.
what? Another big credit to him. A lot of 3-and-D guys are like they're just 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really capitalize when guys are flying out at them.
Yeah.
Crowder, even though he's really not a threat going to the basket, he still puts pressure on you when you close out like poorly on him.
Yeah.
He'll take drives. He'll find an open guy. He'll draw foul if you're not contesting the right way.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps you honest.
Yeah.
Even when he's not shooting the ball well.
Yep. He'll go give a little finger roll or,
Yeah.
He's really good at getting into the paint and seeing somebody else.
Yeah.
He likes that from the wing. He likes to get into the paint and hit the corner. Yeah, he's good at that. He knows how to play. His dad played in the league. So he got that. Talk about IQ. And that's another stark difference. Almost everyone on Phoenix has good IQ.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And that's a credit to like a mix of CP and Monty Williams.
Yep. And it's a lot of not necessarily experienced NBA players, but experienced guys. Bridges is a 2-time college champion. Booker has played, all over the world since he was a kid. Saric obviously has the Euro game. I think Payne did multiple years in college. So, you got guys who have some high level experience just playing a lot of basketball.
Yeah. And it's clearly rubbing off on the less experienced guys like Cam Johnson, like some of the guys who haven't been playing and don't have as much experience.
Yeah, because they come in there and they're still a threat. Yep. Javon Carter, those kind of guys. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the East.
Atlanta lost in 6 games.
Yep.
A hard-fought series.
Another injury damaged series.
Yes.
So Trae Young got hurt in game 4.
Yeah, right after our last episode, he got hurt.
Yes, he got hurt in game 4. They did still go on to win that game. No. It had to have been
he got hurt in game 3 and finished it.
Yeah.
And then they won game 4 without him.
Yep. And he came out game 4. I mean, he didn't come out in game 4. Hawks looked amazing.
Top tier.
Yeah. And Greek Freak got hurt in game 4.
Yes.
But
Greek Freak got hurt in the second half.
Yeah.
That first half, the Hawks were flawless on both ends.
Yep.
Even with Greek Freak there. So I was just shocked at how great they were that first half.
Yeah. They were hitting everything. And the thing is, it wasn't all threes. They were just attacking and just getting buckets. Everyone was getting buckets.
Yeah. Collins, Gallinari.
Yep. So then game 5 comes around and Greek Freak isn't playing in this game. And the Bucks looked like an all-time legendary team without him there. And then go ahead.
Go finish. Let's recap what happened and then we'll get into it.
And then game 6 comes around. Trae comes back.
Not healthy.
Clearly not healthy. Greek Freak does not come back. And the Bucks finish it out nice and easily. Trae had a bad fourth quarter. I won't say he choked, but the end of the game was really ugly on Trae's part. So
and he was incredible the whole playoff run. So
yeah,
like he was really bad, but it's his first playoff run. I'm not surprised. He was due for a bad night, especially when you're not healthy. And he's a guy who clearly he doesn't play, injured very often.
Right.
And it showed. Like, I saw the frustration throughout the game with him kind of leaving shots short or landing awkwardly every time he shot the ball.
Yeah.
And he would kind of land awkwardly on like drive attempts. So,
and in generally for guards, it's hard to play on a bad ankle, you know?
Yeah.
Being that small, he doesn't have a lot of weight on him, but being that small, playing bad ankle is not easy because your quickness is your biggest strength, and he didn't have it. At least, not 100% of it. So he did average 28 and 7.
He could have done better letting the team lose the game instead of him, because the team was playing well in a lot of stretches.
They were. Yeah,
I mean,
they came back big time.
If there's a all like role player team throughout these playoffs,
yeah,
Gallinari's on it 100%
for sure. Yeah,
we talked about Reggie Jackson being like scorching hot.
Reggie Jackson at the 1, Gallinari at the 3.
Gallinari was right there to me.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I mean, they were killing it. What's crazy is what we criticize the Clippers for, as far as like just randomly isoing Morris and killing the rhythm.
Yeah.
Atlanta did that with Gallinari a lot of times and looked better for it.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, all right, we're moving the ball, but either they're defending us well or we're off. Gallinari, take over.
And, Gallinari, one thing a lot of people who don't play basketball don't understand is that bad shots are all relative, right? A bad shot for Tony Snell isn't a bad shot for Gallinari. And Gallinari was taking a lot of bad shots for everybody else on the team.
Yes.
But they weren't bad shots for him.
Exactly.
And he was knocking them down. Yeah.
I mean, again, he's another guy. I kept waiting like, there's no way he stays hot taking these contested, like, tough step backs.
Those he leaned so far back on his shot.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
He looks so washed. Just watching him get buckets, he looks washed.
Yeah.
And he's still like, they just couldn't stop him.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, man. But
positives
it was crazy.
Are you're doing the positive for Atlanta, right?
Yeah, let's go Atlanta first.
Okay, go ahead.
Atlanta is another team similar to the Clippers. They showed us that their depth is legit.
Yeah.
To me,
and I didn't say this. The Clippers' age.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I didn't say this for the Clippers, but I should have. But this team could keep exactly this same roster, assuming they could afford everybody that needs contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, they should be a top-tier Eastern Conference team next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the injuries kind of exposed some limitations of some of their guys.
Mm-hmm.
But never to the point where, and like you and a lot of other people were more critical of Bogdanović.
Yeah.
But it was because to me, it was a lot of it was because he was playing more.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because I don't mind him being a little out of control, forcing shots when he's a sixth man or sixth, seventh man.
Mm-hmm.
When you're the starting 2 guard, you're taking the ball away from your best players when you're taking bad shots.
Yeah, you're taking a shot someone else could be taking.
Yeah, and Gallinari never like forced his own ISOs when Trae Young was out there, or even like Collins was out there.
Right.
It's when like the full bench lineup was out there. Gallinari was like, all right, like Chris Dunn's out there. We're not moving the ball anyway. I'm a shoot.
Yeah. Yep.
And Bogdanović also like had that same Paul George problem to where he never felt how the game was going.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's much younger than Paul George. This is his first playoff run. And again, he's playing way more than he should be.
And I think it looked worse on Bogdanović because the ball wasn't in his hands as much. Like Paul George is bringing the ball up court 80% of the time.
Right.
He had the ball for 10, 15 seconds out of the shot clock, most possessions. Bogdanović will catch it and just jack it. And I mean, and I'm not saying that it's any worse, but I'm just saying it looked worse because every time you saw Bogdanović catch the ball, he was shooting. It felt
Yeah.
like at
Yeah.
times.
And he was also hurt.
Yeah,
You know,
he was.
he looked hurt. He looked like he got a little bit healthier as the series progressed because his defense got a lot better.
Yep.
But again, like his misses were wild. Like he missed every type of way.
Yeah.
Like his misses would be too strong, too short, way off, left or right, like just go in and out, all types of misses. And he was another guy who was like clearly landing awkwardly on a lot of his shots.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree.
What about you? What positives did you see from Atlanta?
Um, their young guys are great, man. Okongwu, I love him.
Yeah.
I love his energy. I love his power. I like he can hit free throws.
His touch around the basket.
Great touch. He'll guard anybody, and he never looks afraid to guard people. He doesn't mind getting fouled. He just looked. I mean, he didn't look like a rookie. He looked like he's been playing in the league for years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was on the Ball brothers Chino Hills team, which makes them a lot less impressive because they had a really good center in high school. Because it was just 2 years ago.
I remember because I've watched their highlights. I'm trying to like think back if I can remember him out there, but
if they ever threw alley-oop, it was probably to him, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, he blew my mind. And when Cam Reddish came back, it was just so clear that he was what they were missing, man.
I thought the Hawks would win when he started playing well.
I mean, he looked so good, and he was playing straps, lockdown defense. I mean, he was getting so many deflections. I was shocked because
he came out there and before he even found his touch, he was getting steals like routinely.
Yes, yeah, and most times guys, it's the other way around. They like to get hot on offense, and then all of a sudden they make something happen on defense. First thing he did was get deflections and get steals. Yep. So he looked amazing. And I got to shout out Clint Capella's defensive IQ has. I said this off air too.
Skyrocketed, big
time. I mean, he's. I don't see that much difference between him and Gobert, to be honest. As far as a defender, I mean,
but he's more mobile.
He's more mobile, and he won't win Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe he will next year, but they probably won't give him the nod. But he plays amazing defense, IQ wise, better defense than Gobert to me.
He's a good defensive captain, and like the reason I don't think he will get a Defensive Player of the Year is because a lot of times Atlanta collectively locks in.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to credit one guy when everybody's getting stops.
Yep.
So, but I agree, man. He's been great.
And Herter played great the whole series, I think.
Not the last game.
Yeah, he shot really bad the last game. But overall, I liked he was aggressive. He was always a threat. But he didn't surprise me as much as Reddish and Okongwu. And also, I noticed, I know John Collins wants to get paid a lot this summer, but he needs Trae, or he needs someone like Trae. I don't really see him like going to another team. This isn't really a positive. This is just an observation. I don't see Collins going to another team and being as successful as he was this whole season, unless they have a guard that can really play off of him like Trae. Like I don't see him going with like Schroeder and immediately being who he was all season.
I do think I agree to some extent, but I do think he showed flashes of like an improving skill set.
He did, absolutely.
Like he every game proved more and more that he not only could hit the threes, but he could face up guys and shoot over them.
Yeah.
I thought the last couple games, like he really didn't play that well, but he was battling on the boards.
He was, absolutely.
And that to me, that last game when he's like getting offensive rebounds over like 3 Milwaukee guys.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I want to see. Like that's what a winning player looks like.
Yep.
And from a young guy to see, like I thought throughout the series he was he just attacked the glass.
Yeah.
Like recklessly in a lot of ways, but almost similar to Zion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I agree that he's not really like, he's not going to be a number one. I don't know if I'll ever see him as a number one, but he's a fire Robin.
Yeah, he is.
Especially with an elite guard like Trae. If I'm Atlanta, I don't mind overpaying him considering the chemistry he has with pretty much everybody on the team.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm saying from his perspective, he should be careful getting crazy with saying, look, I need this, I need that, or else I'll go here. Okay, go there. You're not going to be how you are with Trae.
Yeah, I'm not destroying my depth to keep him.
Right. And lastly, I think that Atlanta full strength, I think, wins this series easily.
Oh, if Hunter's there?
If Hunter's there, and if they had Reddish, like full strength Reddish the whole time,
I completely agree.
So,
again, and if Bogdanovich would have been playing way less, and Hunter was great that first round.
He was,
So,
so that's what I got for Atlanta.
Great. Nate McMillan was a top tier coach, also.
Yeah,
since taking over,
he did great. He did great. Actually, let me say one more thing about Reddish. Without the minutes restriction, they might have won the last 2 games. I mean, he had only a 19
not game 5. I don't think they would have won game 5.
Oh yeah, not game 5 because they were crazy. Milwaukee was crazy game 5.
We'll get into that in a second.
But Reddish, without his minutes restrictions, I think the last 4 games he played, or 3 maybe. I mean, it's a complete different Atlanta team if he can play the whole game. If he can play 35 minutes. So all right, to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's weird, man.
Even my positives are negative for them, to be honest.
I got to start with this, dude. You were right about this for pretty much the entirety of the playoffs. Why did Greek Freak have to like almost ruin his career for Bobby Portis to start playing?
I said this all season.
All year.
Bobby Portis came out and he was the best player on the floor.
Bobby Portis looks like he's hungry. Like he was just every aspect of the game he was the most competitive in.
Yeah.
Like he took every shot like he was gonna drain it. He was all over the boards. He was great at finding open layups. He was defending well. He was sprinting every possession.
Yeah.
How do you not find minutes for a guy like that?
He was a center / forward getting breakaway dunks. Like multiple
taking like one man fast breaks.
Yeah. He was eating.
Dude, I'm watching game 5 and I'm on the verge of yelling at the TV because Brook Lopez was like up. I mean, he was great in game 5.
Yeah.
But prior to that, he was like disgustingly bad.
Yeah.
And it's like Bobby Portis showed him how a good role player big man should play.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
man.
mean, honestly, Brook Lopez getting off was a direct result of Bobby Portis playing like fire.
I agree. It was.
And like they're sitting there like they're shocked that this is happening.
I've literally, even in the offseason, I said, yo, if they play Bobby Portis, I don't know how they can be stopped. And then the first thing he does is bench Bobby Portis for like 2-3 quarters of the year.
Just, I don't get what did Bobby Portis do to not get playing time?
Probably punch somebody else.
He had to have gotten to a fight with like either Giannis or, because I know he looks like a guy who like the first practice of the year, he's just like, he's going like 1,000 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Like he's fouling in walkthroughs and stuff.
Yeah. And I hated a lot of people, a lot of players, myself included. I hated guys like that.
Me too. Yeah.
But dude,
soft scrimmage, I'm hacking you. You're not nothing easy.
Yeah, dude. I hated that. But when we're in the playoffs, when we're getting deep trying to win a title,
yeah,
guys like that have to, like Pat Bev, you have to play guys like that.
Yeah.
Just to fuel the rest of the team, if anything.
And he did that.
I mean, my God.
Game 5, he had 22, Lopez had 33, Middleton had 26, and Holiday had 25. Like it had 4 guys over 20 in the starting lineup.
Finally,
it's crazy.
The first big positive for Milwaukee out of this series is they finally showed that they're a top tier roster in the league.
Yep. Not just a team with a top tier player.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 rounds, they did certain things well, obviously, because they're in the conference finals. But I never saw a roster that's like a championship caliber roster.
Right.
Just off of the way they were playing.
Right.
Conference finals was an entirely different story.
It was. Yep.
Even before Greek Freak got hurt.
Yep.
What other positives did you see?
I like that. And I guess this is still Bobby Portis. So Bobby Portis positive, but that without Giannis, like Budenholzer knows how he can win without Giannis as far as how they play. Because like I think during the season, if like Giannis fouled out or maybe he got hurt just mid-game or ejected or whatever, for whatever reason, if Giannis didn't finish the game.
And he fouled out a lot because of 3 charges a night.
Right. Yeah, or just foul trouble.
Or just dumb fouls, yeah.
It would look like Budenholzer would say, okay, well, how do we just put another Giannis in there? Or like, how do we keep doing what we did when Giannis was out there without him there? And in the last 2 games, and even the game before that, when he first got hurt, you could see where he kind of said, okay, well, no Giannis, let's just play completely differently. Because like Lopez would never be in the paint as much as he was in those last 2 games when Giannis is there. Like never. Because I said all season, my biggest issue is when they take a shot, no one is there to get rebounds.
Nope. And
when Greek Freak takes a jump shot, no one is there to get rebounds.
And they're probably the biggest top to bottom team in the league.
Yeah. Yep. And then when he was out, and this is game 5, the rebounding was crazy. Everyone was crashing. PJ Tucker, 11 rebounds. Bobby Portis, 8 rebounds. Brook Lopez, 7 rebounds. Khris Middleton, 13 rebounds. Jrue Holiday, 6 rebounds. Like, that never happens when Giannis is there.
Yep.
So I think that's my biggest takeaway for them is that when Giannis isn't there, he sees that they can crash, they can get second chance points. They rarely get second chance points when he's there. Unless it's like a tap dunk. That's really it. Sometimes Brook gets a tap out every once in a while, but not really. Yeah, that was my biggest thing. They can rebound and they can play a completely different play style. They look like a completely different team when he's not there.
Yeah.
And it's still good, obviously.
I have another big positive for the second half of the series. Jrue Holiday finally proved my point of why they needed an upgrade over Bledsoe.
Absolutely, he did.
Because he was a top-tier player on both ends, and that's what I've expected because I've seen it a lot from him.
Yep.
And he finally, I don't know if it's Giannis not being there, but like he started it even when Giannis was there.
He did. He started it, yeah.
Like guys can't post him up. Really? Like even bigs can't really post. Collins was afraid of going at him almost every time.
He was.
And it's not even like that's not a discredit to Collins. It's because Holiday was playing top tier defense.
Yeah.
Similar to Torrey Craig.
Yep.
And that to me was the big difference. He played under control. the quality of his shots improved. He was trying to get to the basket before he started taking step backs.
That was huge.
Yeah.
The quality of shots was huge.
And he would allow like the team to create shots for him a lot more often.
Yeah.
That's something he didn't do in the Brooklyn series very often, was like he felt a need to like expose somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's okay. The team you don't have to do that if you're not shooting the ball well.
Right. And that's a Bledsoe thing too, by the way.
Right. And Holiday, just his experience finally started showing over the course of this series.
It did. The whole teams did. In the second half of the Atlanta series, they looked like a team playing against a college team, to be honest. And I'm not saying that as like a negative to Atlanta, because they are young, but they're a really good young team. But the maturity was just so different in those last 3 games.
Yes.
Even the game they lost.
Consistent energy from Milwaukee like was just on another level.
And I'm gonna be honest, man, it still might be Bobby Portis. It might be. I mean, how many times do they have someone that will scream into the stands, let's go, come on. You know? Khris Middleton is quiet. Jrue Holiday is a quiet dude.
Yes.
Pat Connaughton says nothing.
Fire.
They needed fire.
And honestly, Giannis going out, his brother getting a chance to play like a couple minutes here and there.
Yeah.
Helped, because he's another guy like that. Obviously, he's nowhere near like the Bobby Portis level of contribution.
Right.
But he's another guy. If he gets a dunk or if he gets a shot, like he's heating up. He's fueling the rest of the team.
Yep. And this is, I mean, this is slightly off topic, but this is exactly what I said Utah needed, what they're missing. Because when they don't have that, they look like a team like Utah. Yep. Yeah, they're playing good. One person's playing good, but everyone else is just
bad shots after bad shots. And it's okay because we hit them all year.
Yeah, but everyone looks sleepy if Spider's not eating, you know? Yes. And that's kind of how they looked in that game. Giannis got hurt. They looked sleepy for the rest of the game. But, after that, everybody woke up for sure. And Pat Connaughton got a few less shots, which I liked. The shots that he did take were more open in those last 2 games. Forbes is such a defensive liability, but when they have him out there as a shooting threat, he looks great. They just look like a really good team. Jeff Teague has some good minutes in the last game. They're tough, man. They look tough. But when Giannis comes back, what's Budenholzer going to do? That's the big question, right?
This is where I'm very nervous.
Yeah. Because
these 2 games showed me that this is how this team should be playing, with or without Giannis.
Yep.
And I have the perfect picture, like watching these last 2 games. What's not happening is Giannis isn't getting the ball in a favorable position and pulling it out.
Right.
Bringing it out to like attack a guy. This team never needs to play like that again.
Nope.
Like there's too much talent on this roster. There's too much chemistry on this roster for Giannis to say, I'm just attack a guy.
Right.
Like Middleton could do that.
Yep.
And get much better shots. Jrue Holiday could do that and get much better shots. Yeah. And Middleton and Jrue not so much, but with Middleton, he knows that like I can't just dominate the ball for extended time or with possession after possession.
Right.
Giannis doesn't have a feel for that.
Yep.
And that's one thing I love about Middleton being the go-to guy on this team is even when he's not shooting the ball poorly, the team's rhythm doesn't get destroyed.
Right.
And that was Giannis's probably biggest problem.
Yeah, and one thing Budenholzer really likes to force the 4 out, 1 in offense with him, and Giannis usually being the 1 in. And that's, like I mentioned earlier, when Giannis comes out, he just moves Lopez to the 1 in and puts in another guard, right? He puts like Connaughton in as like the 4th guard out there. But there's no reason why this team isn't playing normal 3 out, 2 in. Like they have the best front court maybe in the playoffs with Giannis, Lopez, and Portis. This is no reason why they don't have a nice high-low play or a nice, Giannis gets doubled kind of in the corner and Bobby Portis is there for a lob. There's no reason they don't have that. I mean, you saw all the lobs Lopez was catching.
Yep.
Lopez looked like Birdman out there, the good Birdman. So, I mean, I'm nervous too because I don't know what Budenholzer does as far as that goes. It's clear he can play with 2 bigs, but
it shocked me that they only played like this when Giannis goes out, like gets hurt. Because they didn't play like this when Giannis would sub out of games.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why when he subs out, he just says, let's try to keep doing what we've been doing with Giannis out there, but he's not out there.
Yeah. And I think, you know what I think it is? I think they overestimate like how great Giannis is. And I'm not saying he's not, obviously he's a top 5, top 10 player.
Yeah.
But my thing is, he should never again ISO like a guard.
No, it should not.
Like he's a big man with crazy versatility.
Yeah.
He's not this pull the ball out and like try to play. Like he has no dribble package.
Right.
He dribbles just because guys give him an insane amount of space.
Yeah.
I've never seen him make like an impressive dribble move to get past somebody.
No. He's too wide.
Exactly. It's a charge almost every time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And to me, again, I worry because in the past, I questioned this team's collective IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I finally, you're still taking maybe not great shots every possession, but I see the effort to try to get good shots.
Yeah.
In the past, like we talked about, they're perfectly comfortable being like Utah, just taking tough 3 after tough 3. They got 5 of the biggest players on the court, and they're taking jumpers all the whole time.
Yeah.
That's what freaks me out is that Giannis seems to be more of a problem for all that stuff than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry, like you said, when he comes back, can they just bring him back to just fit with what they're doing right now?
Right.
And that's some of that is on Greek Freak to just slightly adjust.
Yeah.
It's not a big adjustment, I don't think.
No, it really isn't. I mean, there's no reason why Greek Freak can't just seal somebody on the inside and catch a high-low pass from Bobby Portis at the free throw line.
Yes.
This is no reason why that's not like already a play. We see Bobby Portis and Brook can shoot from all over the court, if you give them enough space. And we see that no one and probably in the league can touch where Giannis can touch like vertically.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why he doesn't just catch passes inside. Why is he?
Yep.
He doesn't need it at the top of the key.
Never again.
He will though. They're gonna go right back to
the side.
I think they're gonna go right back.
I'm gonna be furious. The first size up 3 I see, I'm gonna be screaming, dude.
But it's like they overestimate how good Giannis is, but they also underestimate just the simplicity of like who he is, of like what he is.
Yes.
He's a fast 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot reach guy, and that's it. Use that. That's all you have to say, and just use that.
Yep.
So we will see. And it was the last game that Connaughton and Jeff Teague really played well in, but we'll see if he uses the depth. Budenholzer is one of those guys I think will get tight in this first game and say, let's just do what we know, go back to what we know best. We're only going to play 6 guys, 7 guys. And, Giannis is going to be doing what he's been doing. We're going to have PJ Tucker at
watch that, dude. I can't watch that game 1 of the Hawks series. I can't watch that shit again.
We're gonna have PJ Tucker at the 4. You know, we're gonna have
Brook Lopez sitting in the corner or wing. If he's in the wing, he's 3 steps behind the line.
Yeah.
If he touches it on accident in the anywhere near the paint, it's a fade, like a Dirk fadeaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I don't mind. Like what Brooks showed me is that I don't mind you taking tough shots when you get involved.
Right.
Your first shot shouldn't be a Dirk step back or a 3-pointer several feet behind the line.
Right.
You're too talented of a player.
Yep.
And even before Giannis got hurt, they started finding success running pick and rolls with Giannis just rolling to the rim.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's that easy. Even with Collins, who's one of the few who can match Giannis bounce for bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Collins couldn't do anything about their lob threat.
Nope.
Even Capella, who's one of the better lob preventers in the league, couldn't do anything with their lob threat. Like it's just crazy, man.
You know, one thing that this is, you know, I have a lot of random thoughts when we talk sometimes, but one thing that makes Kerr actually a really good coach to me, Kerr can be like one of those coaches who like steals other coaches' powers to me. Because Kerr would, if Kerr was in the playoffs right now and they played Atlanta and they squeaked by him, the next game they'd be throwing lobs. They'd have like 2 pick and lob plays immediately because they'd say, "Oh, Atlanta beat us 3 games or 2 games doing this, so we're never going to let anyone beat us, and we're going to take this and beat somebody else with that."
Knowing Draymond, there'd be 5 turnovers trying to get lobs.
Yeah, but they'd have it in their arsenal.
Right.
And Budenholzer seemingly did that. But will he keep that? I don't know.
I'm very skeptical.
Lopez had how many dunks? It was like the most dunks of his whole career in that game.
5, game 5.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm watching him get layups and dunks, and I'm like, wow, I don't see this often. And that just pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because, like, Ayton, everybody knows Ayton's going to be no further than 5-10 feet from the basket, and he's getting layups and dunks routinely.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has the tools to make that happen.
Yep.
And they don't.
Yep.
But Giannis gets to do like anything out there.
And the thing is, this is Brook Lopez that's catching alley-oops and dunks. It's not even like a high jumper. It's not like Capella, really Gobert, or Collins. It's Brook Lopez.
Right.
Catching alley-oops. So if you can do that, how do you not do that every time? So he's going to figure it out, though, how to not do it.
Their recipe for success is it's time to reel Giannis in. We don't need you to be an all-around superstar and show and expose your weaknesses. Like, we don't have to play to your weaknesses. Or we don't have to rather force your weaknesses as if they're like a part of the offense.
First quarter, I'd have Giannis. Giannis needs to give me 6 post-ups with the ball, and I want 6 shots. Yep. And after that,
I'd take 6 missed hooks.
Absolutely. Because then after that, I'm putting Forbes out there. I'm putting Connaughton out there, and I want Giannis to look outside every time he catches it. And then we're crashing. As soon as Forbes gets the ball, everyone should be running at the basket. Or Connaughton, just run to the basket.
Yep.
You know they're shooting.
Connaughton, that's the one thing I like about him is his rebounding.
Absolutely. He does.
When he's in the paint getting them.
Yeah.
When he goes to the paint, he often gets them.
Yeah, he does.
But because he's a 3-point specialist, according to the Milwaukee Bucks, not according to anybody that watches the games.
And apparently when Giannis is there, no one else is allowed in the paint. Like it's
right, because
it's
Giannis
all
is already taking up too much space.
Yeah, it's
with
like
those
off
right to
limits.
left spins or left to right spins.
Yeah, but even I'm saying for some reason when he's there, they don't even crash. They just get back because if Giannis takes it, it's over. And even let's see, this is game 6. Again with the rebounds, PJ 8, Bobby 9, Brook 6, Holiday 9, Pat Connaughton 8. I mean, 8 rebounds off the bench.
And that
never
tells
happens.
me everybody is getting in the paint.
Yeah. And Giannis keeps everyone out of the paint. So will he be able to just slide to the side while other guys crash? Or in my opinion, Giannis should be the first one back if I'm coaching, because he's the longest defender for a fast break. I would want him stopping it, not Holiday.
Yeah.
So
it's again, I don't know if it's 50-50, but the by far more pressure in this final series on anybody is Budenholzer and Giannis to figure out how to fit this championship caliber roster.
Yes, we'll see if Giannis. We'll see what kind of leader Giannis is, right?
Yes.
Because the best leaders, in my opinion, have been the ones that when they're not playing well or the game doesn't fit them, they adjust and they take a back seat. They do something else. They make an impact somewhere else. I always go back to Kobe in the finals against the Celtics. Shot like complete garbage.
18 rebounds.
18 rebounds. I'm 6'7". I don't care if I'm shooting bad. We're winning this game.
Yep.
Greek Freak, if you're not playing well, give me 18 assists.
Yep.
You can do it on this team. I don't want you to have 40 and miss 20 shots or miss 15 free throws.
Unless he's taken off on a fast break in half court sets, like, does he really need to dribble more than 2-3 times? No, not at all.
No. That's an indictment to me on Budenholzer and Holiday if he ever takes more than 3 dribbles. It's unnecessary. And if he drives, if he gets to the paint and he gets stopped at all, somebody should be wide open. He should get an assist. And to me, because they always take another guy to get help, and everyone on the team can shoot.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, man. You want any?
I do have some negatives just from this series specifically.
Okay. For the Bucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Defense is still not as good as it should be to me.
Okay. Tell me.
I just think like Holiday kind of covered for a lot of the overall team issues.
Yeah.
But these like I mentioned with Ayton being incredible in pick and rolls. It hurts to watch Brook Lopez try to contain pick and rolls. Another credit to Bobby Portis, because a few times he did it, he looked way better.
Yeah.
But Brook Lopez, and I hate this about Brook Lopez. Like when he needs to get a bucket, he'll show like mobility and IQ and like whatever it takes to get a bucket.
He has that really nice sweep through jab.
Yeah.
To the spin.
It
goes in every time. It's unstoppable.
He's got a ton of skills as an offensive player.
Yeah. People forget how he was in Brooklyn. He was the best center in the league.
When guys come off a screen and the guard gets caught, so now Brook has to contain.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost looks like his knees are wobbling. He's so scared.
Yeah, it does.
He gives guys who are shooters like several feet of space.
Yeah.
Or he'll just close out and like completely let guys go straight past him.
Yep. Or foul him.
Yeah. Right. It's a lot of the Gobert. You're not mobile enough, but you're not committing to any of the options to at least take something away.
He doesn't even force them back. He doesn't even like hard hedge so they go back on the screen.
Yeah, so they can recover. Like
he just opens up.
He just gets. It's like they're trying to get him on an island, and he'll gladly jump in on the island, but then he wants no part of it.
Yeah. He looks like he's walking on like a wooden bridge too.
Yeah. And other than Holiday, like Middleton should have more of an impact defensively than he does.
Right.
And you know, PJ Tucker is kind of tough when Gallinari's hitting everything contested.
Yeah, and Gallinari's so much taller than him too, so much bigger.
But they let Gallinari get to like good spots.
Mm-hmm.
That was my problem. Is Gallinari's been feeling it the whole series, and you're letting him like run shit comfortably.
Who does PJ match up to in this series? Booker or Crowder?
I think Booker.
Okay. You put Middleton on Crowder?
But I don't mind. Like they usually Tucker's the primary guy to take the assignment, and Middleton's like the secondary guy.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that Tucker is like the first, but they don't mind him the switch because a lot of times the switches to someone else who plays good defense. Holiday and Middleton get the switches, which is cool.
And again, I don't like that Giannis had to almost tear his knee up for this team to realize that they have the best inside presence top to bottom in the league.
Yeah.
That's to me is that just makes Mike Budenholzer look so much worse.
Yeah, it does.
And the other thing is, and I told you about this later at the end of the series, Middleton has some of the similar Paul George problems where like he'll get mismatches and he'll still take really tough shots.
Yeah, I hate when he takes those. I hate when he takes those hand in the face threes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like the Bucks covered for him better, and they're better as a team than the Clippers are, especially without Kawhi. But again, like Middleton, there was a lot of stretches where he's just missing, and there's no adjustment.
Right.
So that was to me a big problem. And I think Phoenix, with their discipline, capitalizes on that weakness if it starts to happen again.
Yep.
But that's really, as far as like really weaknesses that I don't know if they could overcome. I mean, I still don't like Connaughton being the sixth man.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just, it doesn't look good.
Well, the thing is, now Portis would be sixth man, right?
Again, why? Oh, Giannis had to almost lose a year for the team to realize. It's so infuriating.
Yeah. Forbes doesn't really guard well, but I think Forbes has kind of established himself as like the best just straight up shooter on the team.
And they play him like just like not enough for his defensive issues to like be a problem.
Yeah.
So it works well for them.
But also sometimes not enough for him to really get in a shooting rhythm too, which sucks.
Yeah. But I'm not mad at that because
I'm not mad.
He's not like he doesn't make or break their bench.
Right. So Greek Freak's gonna come in and Portis will be moved, or PJ Tucker could be moved to the bench. I don't know.
That would be ballsy, but I would love it.
I agree.
I want to see what that looks like, them starting out just big.
It's tough because who plays on the outside, Portis or Lopez? Because not Greek Freak, right? Because then they have no real true like floor spacing. Because they'll just back off of Greek Freak as far as like him. You're not gonna like deny Greek Freak. So
yeah, they can't start that lineup. Now that I think about it, but I don't mind. Maybe not start it, but throw it out there at like a random point early on, just to see, because Phoenix hasn't truly been tested inside,
right?
Which makes me mad about the fucking Lakers, but like Phoenix never really got like truly challenged by more than one or two guys,
right?
It was AD in the first round, and then it was only Jokic in the second round, and then the Clippers. I mean, Cousins for 2 minutes doesn't count.
Yeah, and this is that moment where, like I mentioned with Ty Lue, this is the moment where Budenholzer can establish: are we going to play like them, or do they have to adjust to us? Because for me, I'd make Bridges have to guard one of those guys.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
not letting Bridges or Crowder. It probably won't be Crowder, but I'm not letting somebody just sleep on offense by guarding PJ Tucker in the corner and just doing nothing. I mean, sleep on defense. I mean,
Yeah.
by guarding PJ Tucker in the corner and doing
100%.
nothing. So if I would start Greek Freak there and say, look, Mikal Bridges, you got to man up and guard one of these men that we have, but he won't do that. I have no confidence in Budenholzer in being creative, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, this series, honestly, man, as far as like previewing the finals, the Milwaukee matches up like flawlessly with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like just defensively, they have a matchup for every threat that Phoenix has.
Yeah.
The problem again is it just comes down to Greek Freak fitting the team now.
Yep.
And it's up to Budenholzer to me.
Yeah, I think that as far as starting six, Milwaukee has the clearly more elite team.
Yeah.
But Phoenix has the two best players in the series, in my opinion. I mean, Giannis is good, but he so far in the playoffs, Booker and CP have been the two best players.
I'm with you. Ayton's like 2B.
Yeah, he is.
He hasn't been like the third guy. He's been like just fighting for being the second guy.
Maybe Booker and Ayton combined is the second right. best player.
Yeah, Ayton makes up for Booker's limitations in a lot of ways.
Right. So how they combat that is going to be interesting.
But again, like where I worry with their defense is even though on paper it sounds good.
Yeah.
Go round by round. They let every team eat to some extent.
You're talking about Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you come out.
That's my problem.
The fact that you come out against Atlanta first game and like just let Trae Young beat you.
Yeah.
That's literally like that's the last resort strategy I would have if I'm playing Atlanta.
Right.
Same thing with KD.
Yeah.
Like Tucker is a good defender. He's not a KD stopper.
No, he's not.
And it's every round, first round, not so much because Jimmy Butler was nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And Bam was just awful.
Yep.
But these last two rounds, when they're playing real contenders, and just to focus on this Atlanta series, like a lot of guys got to eat.
Yeah.
Lou Will starts and you're not even guarding him.
Yep.
Yeah, like forget Gallinari hitting tough shots. Forget Trae Young being great because both of those things could happen.
Mm-hmm.
If Bogdanovich didn't he got good shots often.
Yeah.
He just didn't shoot it well.
Yep.
Collins was getting great shots often. Huerter, great shots often. Capella lobs, layups often. There were so many times when one Atlanta player, not the last couple games, but early on, one Atlanta player out rebounding multiple Milwaukee players.
Yep.
It's little things like that, again, Phoenix is better than these other teams, and they will expose you if you're making mistakes like that.
Yeah. 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 So, with that being said, who you got first game tonight?
I'm going to say Milwaukee. Giannis is not playing Milwaukee.
Is he ruled out for game one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or he's like doubtful.
Okay. You're going to go with Milwaukee. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to call the series?
I want to know when Giannis gets back before I call the series.
Let's assume he comes back game 3. first game in Milwaukee? Is it the first
Milwaukee in
game in
7.
Milwaukee?
I don't know who has home court.
I think they said Milwaukee is game 3.
If Giannis misses the first 2 games, Milwaukee in 7.
Okay. So you think Milwaukee can beat them 4 out of 5 times?
I'm gonna be honest. Even if he comes back next game, I think I'm picking Milwaukee at 7.
7? Okay. I'll say Milwaukee in 6. I think it's gonna be very similar to the Atlanta series. I think that Phoenix will win the first game, and then I think they'll probably like alternate in the next 2 games, and then Milwaukee wins 2 in a row at the end.
It just like I'm thinking about it, and like Campaign got to eat the last couple rounds.
Yeah,
and Milwaukee like is undisciplined enough to let a guy like Campaign get off.
How come Budenholzer never plays like a backup point guard unless they're like really blowing somebody out? That's the only time Teague ever gets in. But
I don't know.
I'm not saying it just because of Teague. I'm just saying in general, he just will play with no point guard before he puts in a backup.
He didn't even give DJ Augustine a chance to like show that he doesn't fit.
None at all. No chance.
He didn't give Bobby Portis a chance until, again, Greek Freak almost had to miss a year.
And Bobby Portis was fitting most of the season.
I know.
To me,
every time he came in, we saw him play, he looked great.
Yeah. I don't know. So I thought Teague played really good in the last game against Atlanta. I think he has a chance to really play. I would like to see Teague on Payne. He's not going to let Payne just goof off the whole game.
Right.
So, Teague, if there's one thing that I trust Teague about, he doesn't like getting like embarrassed. And Campaign likes to embarrass people.
Yeah.
So I would bet on Jeff Teague there as far as backups. He won't outscore Payne, but he's not going to let Payne just have
and Milwaukee should do a better job of making Campaign play defense.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Often, which the Clippers kind of didn't do, surprisingly.
Because Beverly is just he's a rest for anybody.
He's not good, yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing, they cannot let PJ Tucker be a rest. They can't let someone rest on PJ Tucker. They just can't do it. Because anyone pretty much on Phoenix who gets rest can turn around and give you crazy buckets.
Yeah.
So. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight? Or you want to save it for the next time?
No, we'll be back. We'll be going game to game, little recaps of what's going on, how the series is going.
Yeah, we will. Audio only. We're not going to do video every time because that'll be short. But make sure you subscribe on Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to your podcasts to, because that's where we'll have our game recaps.
Yeah, and when the series does end, we'll be done with basketball outside of like the draft and stuff.
Yeah.
But
trades, stuff like that.
Right. But we'll be getting back into music a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
We're gonna have to have like a whole music episode moving forward.
Yeah, I'm down with that for sure. Yep. All right. As always, thank you for listening. Subscribe. Game recaps coming soon. And we'll see you guys next time.